Martin. Okay, so SmartVote basically allows you to compare the candidates running in your constituency based on your views, not on who has the most posters up. So we started SmartVote really to solve a problem I had myself in the local elections. There was 23 candidates in my constituency, but I was frustrated because there was no one place where I could go to actually compare all the policy positions in an easy to find way. I tried to go through flyers. You might get maybe one or two policies on each flyer, but you couldn't compare them. You try posters. Posters are only good for showing you what the person looks like, but it doesn't say anything about the person. So I really thought to myself at the time, there has to be a better way to make an informed voting decision. So I went to UCD Innovation Academy, and I used the time while I was there to come up with possible solutions. I used the Stanford design process as a means to actually define the problem and identify possible solutions. So that process, it involves speaking and talking to, it's very customer focused. I spoke to maybe 500 students initially to find out why they weren't voting, why they weren't engaging in politics. And then you'd come back to the office, you'd identify the problems. A lot of post-its later, you'd come up with possible solutions. You'd make a very fast prototype. You bring it out to people, show it to them, and then see what they like, what they don't like. You bring it back. And about 12 iterations later, we were ready for our first pilot, I suppose. So we identified huge problems, like obviously trust. The guys were talking about transparency and openness in government. And you can't have the trust of the citizens unless you have openness. And I know Dennis will talk about how difficult it is just to get information out of your county councils or government. So from the get-go, we wanted SmartVote to be very open, very transparent, and a way for people to actually see what their candidate stood for in a very simple way. Edelman Trust Barometer, it's basically trust is in crisis around the world at the moment, and Ireland doesn't rate any better. 32% population have trust in government. So openness and transparency can definitely help with that. In the world of fake news, Donald Trump is probably the only one who gains from that. The rest of us, I think it was Rosalind who said earlier on, we actually live in a paradoxical world. Never before has information been so easy and free to get, but what information do you believe? Very difficult. Which leads us to kind of peer-to-peer recommendations is very important in our society, especially the youth. So voter apathy, we wanted to try and tackle that. That's why we targeted the young population. And the marriage referendum was fantastic because they all registered to vote, they all got voted, they all engaged. So we wanted to kind of ride that wave and say, okay, let's try and keep them engaged for the election. So that's what we were going at. And again, I mentioned posters and flyers earlier on. Posters, yeah, they're great at blocking roundabouts, but they really tell you nothing about a politician. And political parties and politicians know that the average voter simply doesn't have time to do extensive research. So this is why they'll summarise their policies into one tagline on a poster, and they hope that they remember their face. Oh, there's a face I remember. Yeah, I must vote for him. He looks good. So how the SmartVote works. Okay, we asked every candidate and every party to give their opinion on 30 issues. And we basically, you go online, you log in, and you give your opinion on the exact same issues. For each issue, you have a choice. You can give a big thumbs up, big thumbs down. So every time a candidate matches you on an answer, they get a scoring. So if you give a big thumbs up and they agree with you, they'll get 3 points. Medium thumbs up, they'll get 2 points. Small thumbs up, they'll get 1 point. So the more issues that are more important to you are ranked better when you come to the candidates. So at the end of it, it takes about 5 minutes to go through it, and we really spent a lot of time trying to speed up the process. We looked at different ones around Europe, and StemAdvisor is probably the most popular one in Holland. About 40% of the population use it during elections. So we went with their model and we made it a little bit better, a little bit faster. Because people in this technology age, they just want something fast. So when you've done all the answers, you get a ranking of the candidates that represent your views, and we are a representative democracy, so why not vote for somebody who represents your views rather than somebody who looks good or who has a lot of posters up. And you can break down this further, and you can actually go into the questions, show breakdown, and it actually gives you exactly what questions you agreed or disagreed with the candidate. And the candidate has an option of saying why they agreed or why they had the stance. So it gives the candidate a lot of, you can have a lot of extra information if you drill down. Okay, so yeah, we were ready to pilot then. I was in UCD, so we said the first pilot, let's do the UCD student union elections. And we went around the college for about 2 weeks and told people about this with iPads and got them to do the tests. But all the students that used it loved it. There was 66% said it actually impacted who they voted for, and 22% said that they actually weren't going to vote until they used the site. And on that year, the voter turnout was double to what it was the year before. So I wouldn't take credit for everything, but we definitely helped voter turnout and engagement, which was brilliant. So we got a huge amount of feedback just doing that one pilot. And the main things that the users wanted was they wanted a ranking system for the questions, so we added that in. And the main thing the candidates wanted was a place where they could say why they took the stance, so yeah, we added that in later. And our second pilot was Carlow-Kilkenny by-election. And we had all but one candidate participate. I know we have one of them in the room here. Welcome.
It didn't work.
Didn't go. Not this time, next time. So yeah, so we stood outside City Hall for a week with iPads, getting people passing, because remember we have zero budget, so we just had to go on the ground and get people to use it. One particular girl I remember, she was about 18, 19, and it was first time voting, and I asked her, are you voting for the by-election? She said, yeah, I'll vote for whatever my daddy tells me to vote for. I was like, come here, come on, try this quick. So she went through the issues, and surprising to herself, she actually had an opinion on every issue. Now at the end of the test, she might have still voted for what her daddy tells her, but it was actually her vote. And I knew as soon as she went away, she would have been more engaged in that election. So it kind of proved to me that it was actually worth my while and all my time devoted to this. So yeah, for the Carlow-Kilkenny by-election we had 57% said that they discovered new candidates just by using it, and 98% said they'd use it for a general election. So we said, okay, we'll try for the general election. We won the Social Entrepreneurs Ireland Award in 2015. They basically work with you for a year, support you and give you a little bit of funding. So without that funding, we wouldn't have been able to improve the site the way we wanted to, and we wouldn't be able to cover every constituency for the general election, which is what our ultimate goal was. So the general election itself, we had 250,000 users in 6 weeks. We had zero budget advertising, so it was basically a lot of peer-to-peer recommendations. Because of the data we had, we got a little bit of media coverage, which helped spread the word as well. 84% felt more informed, so basically that was our mission, to inform people, make them get an informed voting decision. So we achieved that, and 95% of people who started the test completed the test, which is very high for something like that. And 90% recommended to friends. So again, a lot of peer-to-peer recommendations. We nearly 9,000 Facebook shares. We were number 3 on Twitter for the week before the election, #MakeASmartVote. We were first, I think, on election day, and Twitter even sponsored a hashtag for election day. And you probably can't see that very well, but it basically gives a breakdown of all the constituencies. So as you can see, every single constituency used the site. There was no constituency less than 2,000 users of the site, so that was really good because we had no money to advertise. Obviously word of mouth spread around the country very fast. Okay, so reasons for success. We solved the problem for voters. Most people want to make an informed voting decision. Either they don't have time to do the extensive research, or they actually don't know where to start to do the research. You might get a few flyers in the door, but that's not enough to compare candidates. You look at debates on TV, often just turn out as shouting matches, and you come back with less information than you started with. We partnered with USI because we really wanted to reach the student population, and they were brilliant because they went around all the colleges. Like SmartVote was me and one other person that needs a full-time job, so we needed feet on the ground to get it going. So they went to every college and literally with iPad and got the students in engage with it, which was fantastic. And the media coverage was very important to us because we had no budget, as I say. So we got on, I suppose, nearly every radio station kind of heard about us and wanted to interview us. George Hook, I think we nearly changed him from a Fianna Gael to Fianna Fáil, unintentionally. Yeah, we got a lot of newspaper articles and online sites. They kind of picked it up themselves. The most important endorsement was probably from the Rubber Bandits. Check out this savage site. That actually got about 10,000 shares. So that was good. We didn't ask them. So what's next for SmartVote? For the next election, we want to partner with the Red Sea so that actually the data that we get within the site, we can kind of validate it. And so we did have a lot of data, but we didn't ask for age groups, or we didn't ask the questions to make it a proper sample, because we just wanted as many people to use it as possible. So for the next time, we're going to get a chunk of the people who use it to join a sample so that the results can be representative, and we'll get Red Sea to verify it and make sure we follow all the rules for a proper sample. And we want to double the users next year. We have to be optimistic about that. And we're gonna have to have paid features on it, otherwise we can't keep going with it. So we're trying to bring in a video profile for candidates, because if you're going to vote for a candidate, you're going to want to know a little bit more about them. So video profile is a bit of more of a personal touch, and you kind of tell them why they should vote for you. And we want to bring in a dialogue, so if there's questions that we don't cover, that you can ask a candidate a different question and he'll be able to answer that. So that's the plans for the future. Okay? That's it.